Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the hot market. The hot market is here with EVTV rocketing, 700% yesterday, and I knew that that was going to bring some good opportunities today, and that it did. XAIR was that next big squeezer today that I was able to catch about 5 times today for profit. At least I think it was 5 or 6 times for profit. 100% accuracy trading is today. We're going to break down every single entry that I had on this today, one by one, exactly why I took it, how I took it, when I took it, where I took it, the whole 9 yards. That way you know how I do, and hopefully you can improve your trading by at least 1% every day by tuning into these videos every single day. So let's go and break it down about how we found it. Of course, this was going to be the top stock today, and go from square one. So, of course, everybody and their mother was watching EVTV today, and I was able to trade this thing again today too, thankfully. And the big thing here was, we knew there was so much FOMO surrounding EVTV today because it ran 700% yesterday. Everybody's watching it today because we have not had a stock move like this since September on OCTO, really. It's the last time we had a hot market get sparked up. This just did it today in a big way. Everybody here's watching to see if they can play a breakout. They want to catch that next big move. And so you can't go trying to trade breakouts on this. You can't play breakouts on this. Because everybody's trying to do the same thing, chasing breakouts. As soon as buyers find that they're hopping in, as soon as sellers find that they're panic selling out, there's just so much involvement here with the crowd. You've really got to put yourself into their shoes, and you got to be careful that you're not going to be liquidity and that they are. And so let's dive into it here. And we had a few things we were watching into the bell, and a big thing here today was trying to figure out what that next big stock is going to be. And so today I was watching a few stocks, watching ATON, watching DCOI, XAIR, and EVTV. Right? So 3 of these, or really all 4 of these, were our leading gappers this morning. ATON was the leading gapper for most of the morning. It never set up for me. I wanted to watch this thing over 245 off of VWAP, and I'll show you here. It never got setting up, unfortunately. It tried to, but just couldn't get setting up. And so you can see here, sort of stuck in this downtrend all morning with these lower highs. It just really couldn't get the break of that previous high. So what's the saying? No break, no trade. So nothing here on this. Same story with DCOI as well. I was watching this as well, going into market open with pretty much a exact same game plan here. I was wanting to watch this for the breakup over these lower highs off of VWAP here out of market open, see if it can put in place a bit of a range, just like this, put in place a bit of a higher low base off of VWAP, and then get that entry for the rocket higher. And of course, this sells off the market open, no opportunities there either. So we're left with what? We're left with the 2 that I did play today, on EVTV and XAIR. So what do you know? The ones that meet criteria are the ones that I traded. The ones that did not are the ones that I left on the back burner. So XAIR today, this thing is so much fun. We have not had a stock like this that's this fun, and I don't know how long. And so the game plan here into market open was, look, over 150 for the range to 180 and 2. Now, of course, we had room on the daily time frame to 180 and 2. And, of course, using this level from pre-market as well at 175 as well as that level of resistance. So I knew here we had a range to play here, 150 to 180. What was respected so well today? 150 to 180. And so I had perfect thing. So I had the perfect opportunity here. I didn't play it out of the bell because what happens here is this opens up and we have this very indecisive looking price action where we have this equal-sided wick on both ends of the candle showing this that there's no clear real sentiment here on either the buy side or the sell side. There's no real clear direction. I don't know who likes this. Are buyers in control or sellers? I've got no idea. So without confirmation, I don't have an opportunity here. I got to sit back and wait for that confirmation. So this ends up knifing beneath the lows, but it knifes underneath the 50 EMA. But then what happens next is buyers swoop back in and take it back up over this pre-market support. And at that point, what you've got to understand is, look, the market has told you everything you need to know. This tries the knife and be done for the day, but oh my God, buyers step back in and say, no, you're not done yet. They take it back up over the 20 EMA. It bases back, look, it pulls back off this pre-market support, and I take the entry because we're seeing exactly what the market wants to tell us. Buyers step back in, reclaims trend. Cool. Take the entry, risking off the bottom of this level of support from pre-market for the range back up into this past high, back up towards what 175 pre-market high. Easy enough. And again, I'm able to take it here, as you can see, from 155 to 172. Easy enough. As sellers come in, of course, we had a big seller sitting on the ask all morning at 175, and we started to see sellers come in off that 175, and I said, all right, let's just take an exit. We'll sit back and look for another opportunity. I'll play some pullbacks here off the 9 and 20, see if we can get the break at the high. Same story again, seller at 175, take a full exit. We just can't seem to get over that 175. And as you can see here, seller range true, knifes back down to the lows. Well, as it comes back down to the lows, this gives me a really interesting opportunity because we already saw what happened here and here. And now we put in place this perfect higher low, and we have this flat top high here. Well, this is looking really special. So this pulls back off this previous low, this higher low. Let's put in place a higher low here. And here, it's respected this 50 EMA all morning just about. Why can't it do it again? And so I take the entry there, risking off the bottom of this range where it keeps on just seemingly finding a buyer off those higher lows. I take it back there at 160. 159 was the fill. Or the range back up into the previous high day towards 170 again. And I get that. Again, you can see here I get that from 159 back to about 168, 169. Then it tries to break 175. Instant pop to the highs. Whenever you see that big teleportation candle over the break of the high, leave it alone. That's a grab of liquidity. And as you can see here, it definitely was. Breaks out. Nice back down through that breakout level. Stops everybody out. Shorts pile in. And then guess what? Boom. And so the game plan here for the re-entry was take a look at this. And so what we understand here, this becomes an area of liquidity, right? Where the market broke and grabbed liquidity, which means this becomes an area of supply where sellers had came in. And so this being an area of supply now, we can extend that over with a little rectangle here so we can visualize this on the chart. And so now we know that in order to play this, we've got to clear over this past area of supply where supply will then become demand. And so in this case, price breaks over the high. As you can see, price breaks over the high and then pulls back. And as it pulls back, I'm waiting to see if buyers want to step in and confirm this is now being an area of demand to play the simple pivot here for the break up higher. And what do we have here? We had price pull back off the 90 MA. Buyers stepped in. I took the entry for the break higher. Easy enough. And as you can see, we're just risking off the 90 MA or the move higher. That's it. And so again here, pattern here from 190. Stops go down here at 180 at the bottom of this last candle. Or the range up through highs towards, as you can see, we got to move here to about 220. Got to move to about 220. Just risked off the 90 MA. And until structure flipped off the highs, which as you can see happens right here. Double top off the high and big sellers begin to come in. I took my full exit there as trend began to, again, fade. Easy enough. And then sort of the same thing happens again and puts in place this sort of descending wedge, which I sort of missed it through here. I really should have been taking entries here and I missed the opportunity. I think I was trading EVTV at the time, but you can see exactly how that level of supply was respected again here as well. Super simple supply and demand pivot right off the 50 EMA. That would have been a perfect entry, but I didn't trade that, unfortunately. What I did play, though, is I waited and took some pullbacks here off the highs for a small little win, but the bulk of the moves here came from these right here. Now, of course, moving on to EVTV. That is XAIR. Hopefully, you learned a thing or two from that because that thing was so fruitful today. But EVTV was very interesting today, too. Again, I knew I couldn't play a breakout on this today. I knew I had to be watching pullbacks for the most part. By pullbacks, I don't mean chasing knives. There's a fine line. And so what we have here going into the open, of course, have this high to this lower high, right? So we're looking for the break of trend out of market open. And so my game plan here was to watch for pullbacks off of 3 today. And so it held well off of 3. You can see here over 3, it did hold quite well. But I just didn't have the conviction to go taking this here because my thing is, what if this, it's just a massive liquidation event, begins to just knife, the rug just gets pulled out from underneath it and that volume flows to XAIR. And so I didn't want to go do that. So this happened actually quite quickly. I saw this candle quickly pop up review up in the 90 EMA. I hurried up and take the entry, risking off the EMA for the break back higher. We got a quick break to the high, and then of course it instantly fakes out. I took my exit. That was my first trade of the day. I broke the ice there with a win on EVTV, but it was quick. It was tough. And so then of course this puts in place this downtrend the rest of the morning with these, of course, lower lows, lower highs underneath the EMAs, underneath the VWAP. And then finally, later in the morning, breaks back out. Big volume move back over VWAP. Took the entry here off the pullback. I was a little bit oversized. Got some size taken back out. Of course, risking off of VWAP here. And got the squeeze back up into the highs here. Because again, we saw trend pivot to the upside. We had that confluence. My only concern here was this past high. But we also knew that if that was able to get breaking, you sort of get short squeezing over those highs as well. Because this really was the indication of reversal this morning where shorts sort of began to pile in. So buyers come back in. They step back in. They say, all right, we're taking this thing back up through highs. As you can see, using VWAP there as confluence along with these past highs as well. Able to take a pretty nice little trade there as well. And again, just trail it off the 90 EMA until eventually we have that same thing happen here that happened over on the XAIR for a full take profit. That's about where I wrapped up for the day. So all in all, EVTV was not my main runner today. It was XAIR by far. This thing was so much nicer. I was a little bit hesitant to play EVTV today because of the big move yesterday. I was like, there's got to be a better opportunity elsewhere. Something that is a little bit less extended, something with a little bit better risk to reward, and that really happened to be this one today. So very happy we had this today. Even happier that the market is finally heating back up after a couple of months of some iffy price action, but things are back on fire and could not be more excited for what's to come the rest of this month and into the rest of this quarter. That being said, if you did learn a thing or two from this video, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this, literally every single day. And of course, make sure to also try the 7-day free trial to Momentum. Down in the description below, you can sign up, claim your spot. That way you can actually trade alongside me every single day in real time and get alerts, education, chat room access, watch list, scanners, news, Momentum AI, Momentum Journal, and so much more. And that being said, let me know in the comments below how you did today. Hopefully you had an awesome day as well. And I'll see you back tomorrow for another awesome trading day.